Hey, good morning, everyone. It's a wonderful morning over here in Singapore. So it's the 31st of August. It's been a while since we did this type of content, this podcast for a while now. I think it's around 5 to 6 months. And I have been urged by some of my speakers today for a bit. And I've been also wanting to do it myself, of course. But yeah, we're going to have a revival of this podcast, which we haven't did in a while now. And hopefully in the next few months, I think can do that, same cadence again, discussing about topics that I think us as tech individuals will be interested about. So today we have a very interesting topic and sort of a topic that we covered with before, I think in our first talk ever, when we did with Michael, I would say like 2-3 years ago in terms of regarding the tech community. But I think this one is a little bit different, more positioned towards what it takes in terms of building up, tech community. Like for example, myself, I'm part of the GDG community. Some of you might have attended events. And then for one of our speakers later, I think they are also leads in their other tech communities or even like mentors in some of the other communities and events in Singapore. So what does it take to run that, as well as the benefit to yourself and what you get in terms of interactions with the different members as part of this, both the community as well as this professional working environment. So learn more from them as well as for myself, what we get from this experience, especially in the last, I feel like for some of us, probably between 5 to 10 years of our life now. Okay, but without further ado, let me bring them in. All right, welcome. Sorry for that. Let me bring in Koo and Hairizuan. Yay, welcome back, you guys. Thanks for agreeing to again be my guest in this revival session. Hope you guys are doing well.
Hello.
Hello.
How you
Hi,
all doing?
everyone. Good morning.
Okay, maybe let me put in a question just to kick things off. Like this is not, of course, the questions directly, but just more in terms of maybe a short introduction of. I mean, I think most of the folks who have listened into your content, like whether it's through this podcast or other content online, they probably would have known you guys. But maybe it would be great for you to talk about the community you are part of. I think some of it maybe other people might not know. And how many years have you actually run this community? Maybe starting with Hairizuan.
Okay. So I guess if it goes straight from the beginning, essentially GDG, like okay, so I'm one. Okay, I'm not sure whether I can truly say I'm organizing GDG Cloud right now because I'm thankfully not doing any organizing work, like everything. I'm just there in the background. If there's anything that I can easily help, I will help out. But most of the time, it's just someone else will be suggesting. And if there is something that I can help out with, I'll do that. But if I were to start from the very beginning, like I've been this GDG cloud organizing group for a long time, and I think since the beginning of my career. And essentially, the GDG cloud was not started out of pure passion in a sense. It was more like a effort. Okay, so Google had GDG Singapore, and they were trying to. I guess at the time they were trying to push the cloud side as well, and maybe they found benefit. So what happened was I was giving a talk a long time ago. I think was someone then of the I think one of the Googlers approached me and like, okay, we are trying to do something new. Can you help out? I said I'm okay to help out. And for some odd reason, and after I just got roped in more and more responsibilities, and then yeah, that's kind of the main initial story. Like got accidentally sucked in, and now I'm stuck. And like I'm like totally open to have more people helping out, because at the end of the day, community work is voluntary effort, and it takes free time. But yeah, I mean, like, let's leave that part to the next section or the next part of this
It's almost like a
conversation. But
CCA, right? I think coming from a
yeah,
perspective of Singapore schools.
it's a CCA. But then, like, I have opinions about this CCA thing.
Oh,
I'm not sure.
oh,
Yeah,
oh.
but
Let's hear.
let's continue the introduction first.
Okay, okay. Well, how many years? Just curious.
Oh, okay. I don't remember. Like basically, I have the number of years on LinkedIn, but don't exactly have the LinkedIn website here. So I should be like at least more than five for sure. At least more than five.
Okay. I'm gonna feel a guess it's actually 7 years because I remember you start speaking for GDG in 2018 because I was a audience lah, back then. And it's either 2018 or 2019. 2019 would mean 6 years. 2018 would mean 7 years. Yeah. Somewhere there lah. Okay, but you're right. More than 5 years. At least. Okay, maybe going towards cool. How about yourself?
Okay, so I run data science SG over here. So basically, what we cover is mostly data science stuff and also hey, thanks. I'm wearing yours actually. Yeah, we mostly cover data science stuff, and also of course in recent years we cover a lot more on AI as well, artificial intelligence as well. Yeah, I've been running together with a few folks for data science SG. We started in November 2013. So that's the reason why you had that 10-year t-shirt. Yeah, so we started in 2013, so it's like 10 years already. And thanks to the support from the community and all this, right, we managed to run on average like one meetup a month, including December, including June and December also as well, where there's like all these school holidays and people need to travel. We still managed to get quite a good or large enough audience during those days also. Yeah. So 10 years, yes.
Were there any prior communities before that? Or was that like the first big official one you regard as like the start?
This one was sort of the second community that I run. So
Oh,
previously I run uh you can say there are two other communities that I run before. I won't say run as in like so one of them is actually this previous software company. I probably don't want to name them any don't name them. So they actually set up a user group, and the user group actually okay. So this software company is actually in the US, and their user group in the US is actually quite large. So large that they can actually organize their own event, like a 3-day event at a very prestigious location. It was that big, and so the users over here, we thought that hey, maybe there's a chance for that as well. So so we actually had that user group over here. And the software company did actually provide some support lah on running it, like maybe booking of venues, and also help link up with speakers and all this. But to be fair, the the help that was given was quite limited, to be fair. Because I think no one knows whether it will pick up or not and all this also as well. So the kind of resources that they can commit may not be there. So that was one of them. Another one which I recently stepped down, that was I think I stepped down last year. It's called AI Professionals Association, AIP. I think I shared that before. So the initial idea is we wanted to uh, build from grassroots and have grassroots contributors, right, to build resources for the bigger professional community to help to be able to leverage AI lah, to use AI more effectively, efficiently, and also ethically as well. So that was what AI professional was about. So unfortunately, I can't commit the time to so many places, to both places, and so on and so forth, and also the lack of resources on both sides also. That's why I decided to step down and focus more on data science SG, which I have a lot more control. Or I won't say control. Control is not the right word. A lot more influence on. Yeah. Yeah. So yes, I have some community building experience before, but it sounds like I run the longest, right? But actually, there is another tech community that runs even longer than data science SG. Yeah.
Wait, which one?
That's the one run by Michael Cheng. I
Wait,
believe it's Engineers SG. Actually, Engineers SG is more than 10 years already, actually. Yeah.
wait, Engineers SG, it's not really a what do you call it? Like it's a group, but it's not the what do you call it? Like there's a regular. I guess no. Wait, now that you mention it, yeah, they have. Okay, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, there is.
Okay, there
Yeah.
is the forgot what's the name of it. But there's this recurring event they do for junior speakers to what do you call it? Sign up for the event and learn how to speak there. Yeah, okay.
Junior
Now
Dev,
that you
I
mention
think
it,
Junior Dev, right?
I thought
sorry.
Junior Dev SG or something.
Yeah,
I
Junior Dev
think
SG,
so.
right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So the one has a mentoring program and all this over as well.
yeah. So this is
Yeah.
like these are like the OG communities, I think, like under Michael. And also for yours, like, I think 10 years is not a short period as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Thanks to the community support again, like I said, yeah.
I think that's something I would definitely want to jump into, which is given your observation of the community, like how it has like evolved over the years. But maybe before that, just want to get a better understanding of your origin stories. And I feel like Hairizuan has already mentioned a bit of this, but feel free to also add in like more content, more of like, if there's like something interesting. Maybe I can kick off this one first, like I think from my own perspective, in terms of entering the tech community. So I think my story well, I was about to say it's similar to Hairizuan, but actually not really as well. Like Hairizuan came in as a speaker, and then he sort of like scouted to be the organizer for the event. I think for myself, I'm more uh someone introduced me. So and it was a Googler that I was being introduced to. His name started with a S. He's not in Google already. So he's working for one of the big name competitors. The name started with a A. But I
Uh,
did remember like feeling quite thankful, like the in that instance where I was introduced by one of my mentors towards him. And while it
mm,
wasn't that like I wasn't being asked to join the community or anything, but it was just a quick session where hey, let's just do breakfast at Google, and then we
mm,
just got to know each other, got to know more about GDG. And that was when actually I also seriously I already participated a few of his activities,
mm,
but that's where I
mm,
seriously also like went in, like started as a speaker there after that. And then I think it was because I was thinking like, can I do this on a more regular basis? So out of nowhere, I think I just went up. I don't think I approached Hairizuan, but I approached like one of the previous organizers who left already. But I just
mm,
asked them, hey, do y'all need anyone to help out? Like, I don't mind just being a runner here and there. Lah. Okay, this one I have to say it was maybe also in a bit of a heyday of actually no, sorry, it's not in a heyday of community, but it's before COVID. It was at the time where I think it wasn't uh there wasn't also a lot of people volunteering lah, like in Singapore for like leading these community events, even as runners. So at that point of time, I was just no one is doing it. I'll ask lor. Then and they said yes very quickly. So I just came in and just helped with stuff. Hope y'all didn't regret it, Harizan.
No regrets. No regrets. And I mean, okay, so the thing is, right, at the end of the day, communities or all this organizing work actually takes a lot of effort. And the thing is, a lot of people come in, and after like 3 6 months, they just disappear without saying a word, and that is the
Is
common
that
story. So it's nice to see, like, people there just like, oh, I've seen your face before, and like the guy is still there, like for years. He's just there. Yeah, so it's nice to have, like, I don't know, maybe it's the old person in me talking, but it's nice to have some sort of consistency. Like it's a bit strange if you keep going and then like the community just keep evolving and changing. Like, it's like a JavaScript library, like just like you don't want change so much. You want more more consistency. Like, don't change everything, don't change the world. Just like you have something that works, and hopefully run with it for quite a while. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's volunteer work, right? So um, people are not paid. It takes effort. People get burned out, etc., etc. So yeah, but this is not pertaining to the question here. So
no, no,
um,
no, no. Please do share. Like I think you brought up a very interesting point, which is, I mean, we are not paid. So why we decided to enter despite not being like, this is definitely not a uh you don't get a monetary benefit of it. That means we later probably we can also talk about what other benefits we get out of it. Yeah.
oh, okay. I guess, like, okay. So this one is more to the why, like what I've been mentioning just as for the past like 2 3 minutes. It's more like why enter the tech community rather than the how. Because like for how, I think I mentioned right at the beginning just now, which is like accidentally get roped in. So I'm not sure whether that's like I think those that kind of story is rare. I think the more common story is like something like Weiyuan story or maybe Koo story, where like out of passion, you want to like do something for people and like help out. But for me, it's just like, oh, okay, sure. And that's the thing. Like for most people, we are more of that kind. It's just like, um given the opportunity, maybe we'll rise up to it and like, oh, okay, sure, I'll help out. The thing is, I actually only want to help out. It's that I don't want to be the guy to be everyone go to, because like that's the one where I was there like 1 or 2 years, and that's the part where you get burned out very, very, very quickly. So I really applaud whichever tech community out there, that whoever the head or the decision maker, yeah, those guys really need to be applauded for, like, quite massively, like the decision making, the more like the sense of responsibility, like like the person has to like constantly think about, okay, the community has a meetup like 2 weeks ago, we need to start organizing the next one. That sense of responsibility, that sense of like the urge to always be doing something for the community, like, and that part is the part that can get people easily burn out. All those like other volunteering stuff, yeah, they are important, but then if the main guy gets burnt out, right, it really spreads across the entire organizing group. And yeah, I think there was a period of time I got burnt out. Weiyuan immediately stepped in, and Weiyuan immediately like started doing all the stuff. And then during COVID, both of us got burnt out. So
Wait,
I
wait,
think,
wait, wait. I feel like I need to what do you call it? Need to interrogate you a little bit here. When do you burn out? I mean, I know we talk it all, but I don't think I sense. Okay, I sense the part where we both were definitely more tired, like after the COVID period where we did a lot of online events. But I didn't sense
yeah.
the part before that.
I mean,
All
I
right.
mean, like it's more like, how do you define, like, basically, in the sense like burnt out. Okay, burnt out has a very negative, very, very big negative
The
meaning.
connotation.
Yeah,
Negative
connotation.
connotation.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the word. But more like, okay, burnt out maybe is the wrong word. More like less interest. Maybe that's a better meaning. Like, basically, we have other aspects of life that happen. So like for me and for everyone here, like we have careers. For me, I got a wife, so I need to maintain that part for sure. like in my entire life, my wife will be at the top, family will be at the top. Then uh, maybe career, but maybe a career is like good to have, I guess. Like I like where I am right now. I don't want to gun for more responsibility. So maybe that's second or third tier. Community work is more on the bottom side. So that's the thing. Like in terms of the priorities. But last time when I was younger, for some odd reason, I put community pretty high up the list.
Mm.
I was more gung ho. Like we need to have events, and then the events need to be very contact a whole bunch of speakers. Okay, I try to get them to come in, and we got burned in the process for inviting certain speakers in. But yeah, I think it's whole part of the process. But yeah, I think I digress like the
Hey, no
all the
worries, no
topics
worries.
are
I
everywhere.
got I
Okay.
got a few good things out of it. Later, let's touch on the family time one because I do have a funny story here that I can share. But let's go to Koo first. Like in terms of
Yes.
the how do you enter the tech community?
So the fun part is this. So we started around like 2014, right? So that's where I don't know any one of our audience still remember this. That's where our country decided to call ourselves Smart Nation. And one of the pillars, right, was actually this pillar called data analytics. Back then was called data analytics. That was a sexist term related to data.
Were you
Uh,
involved in the sorry? Were you involved in the that whole government push to introduce Coursera and data science and the 10 courses thing?
okay. So so before, sorry, quite a long story. So bear with me a bit. So before that, like I said, I run a software user group before for about 1 or 2 years. And in fact, the thing is actually I like that community feeling. Reason being is I get to like talk to like-minded people. I get to discuss things on the software and the usage of data and all this also as well. And that's where I start to see there's a tremendous value in doing like community, and then you have a group of people coming together, networking, then opportunities coming in, like training opportunities, learning opportunities, job opportunities, and so on and so forth. So back then I already realized that actually having a tech community is actually quite good. Then came this Smart Nation thing. That's where we talk about data analytics. That was one of the pillars. And of course, one of the initiatives that was pushed under the Smart Nation was what Hairizuan was talking about, where you get subsidies for training, for taking up I think it was a John Hopkins data science specialization. That's where I also got involved. That's why I also got involved as well. I was actually doing the facilitation for the first module, which is Introduction to Data Science. There were two batches. So there were two batches, and I was one of the facilitator for one of the modules. So when we say facilitator, was also trying to help people understand what data science is, trying to help them get past the module so that they can also move on to the other modules and so on and so forth. So that was one initiative that was pushed out as well. Now, how actually I started data science actually was because there was also, so you all can see the title, I'm a co-founder. So there was another co-founder, of course. I don't know whether he wants to be named, but so I shall name him. But he was the one who actually approached me and says that, hey, cool, you have run a community before, right? And I think there's a opportunity here that we see that, hey, maybe we should also run a community that's like more focused on data science back then, and maybe your community building experience here can help out. Then I said, yeah, sure, why not? I mean, back then my job also will benefit a lot if I actually do a community, because my job back then, right, was actually uh approach the industries, approach the different companies, and scope data projects, and then bring it back for the students to work on the projects as well. So I see there's a lot of synergy for doing all this, and that's where I co-founded data science actually with another co-founder Reason being is also because data science was very new, right? Similar to what's happening in AI right now. So a lot of different parties want to craft the messages according to their agenda. Like if I want to sell my software, then of course I craft it to a way where data science is a definition that can help me sell my software. And let's say if I'm an expert in data science, I want to sell myself as an expert in data science, then of course I craft my message accordingly. And this is where we see that there's a lot of confusion on what data science is or what data is at the end of the day. And that's where we say that there's an opportunity for us to step in and say that no lah, I think let's give the people the full picture, the good, the bad, the ugly, everything. More importantly is that education part for everyone to uh understand what data science is altogether. And that's why we set up in 2013. I think it was November 2013, if I remember correctly. Yeah. That's how I entered. Yeah.
Okay, I feel obliged to show this comment from someone who's watching. He's not.
Yeah.
Oh, his name starts with an S as well. Wow, what a coincidence! Who knows if it's the person we're talking about?
Yeah.
But yes, thanks Shafras for watching it on this podcast. Also, yeah, I think he also mentioned this earlier on when we were talking about when you were talking about how you enter the tech community, the earlier part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Chafras, for the validation.
Okay, maybe just to go into a little bit of what Hairizuan mentioned just now, and of course, I love for Koo to also jump in on this. The in terms of family time, I think Hairizuan, maybe I can dive in a bit more on this first because I do have a funny story, and I feel like I think I have told Koo during one of our walks, but Hairizuan maybe not yet. So you mentioned about like in terms of for community based work, right? Like now you're married, you need to spend more time with family, and that's justified. You have to do that. One funny story I have is the so I'm married as well. For those people who are not aware of the and I actually what wait what. So if my wife hears this, she's not well, maybe she'll laugh a little, but she probably will also come and whack me on my head because I've done something like this before where during my earlier years of my marriage, I think this was 1 year after I got married. So I got married in 2018. And 2019, I remember this is when I start helping out in the tech community. And I remember flying over to Manila for a talk. And guess what was that occasion, or what occasion I flew on that day for? Okay, so I flew for a GDG event, specifically for that Manila trip. But okay, basically what I'm trying to say is that to my wife, right, it was her birthday. So
Okay.
okay lah, maybe not that funny lah, but essentially what Harizan says is right. Like there is a certain like I think if you want to dedicate time for a community, yeah, sometimes you have to do a little bit of sacrifice lah for personal time because your weekends, most of the weekends itself would essentially be burned. I think sometimes even the weekdays, like post COVID, yeah, definitely more on the weekdays as well. But on the weekends, I think that's where most of the tech events, especially the full day events, it happens. So sometimes I wouldn't say you have to sacrifice, but I think you have to find a good mix lah. Like I think for me back then, I was still trying to get a good feel of what would be like getting my feet wet in terms of how much time do I want to spend there, and of course flying overseas, that's a big commitment. So that one unintentionally no choice, so had to do that. But of course I learned my lesson as well. I think the following years after that, um my wife said on that year itself that she didn't mind it, but for many years she indirectly hinted to me that she minded it, so I never did that again. So
She will
guys out
never
there,
forget, man. She will
sorry.
never forget. She will
Oh
never
yeah, yeah,
forget.
she will never. I
She will
agree, I
never
agree. So
forget. And
every
every
year
year
after
you'll
that,
be reminded. Yeah.
pro tip for those people who want to be like you're tech community folks or you're speakers, right? Pro tip: if you're flying overseas, bring your wife along or bring your spouse along. If it's husband, bring your husband along. She enjoyed my last one where I think my last her last birthday, it was during a event in KL, so I flew her over on my own expense, and then she got to enjoy some like her alone time as well, during that weekend. So it was like a full weekend of things rather than just like 1 day celebration for a birthday. Yeah. So in case if you want to do that, Harrison, just saying.
Yeah, I mean,
Ah,
there's I brought her last year to KL as well. but she arrived on a different day because she has work commitment.
Mm.
And like the previous day is like a full community thing. So basically, she didn't want to spend time on her own. So she was saying like she rather fly in later rather than like having one whole day alone. So like okay, in that sense, like it's harder to bring her along for community things because because like for me like I would prefer to keep an eye on her, especially in overseas. Like I get worried for her, so I rather not just like bring her along and just like okay, you just spend the day doing whatever you want. But I want to see her around in a sense if I'm overseas in a sense. So that's why like I think for in terms of this community thing, right? I need like I'm going with the other approach where first I just receive her blessing and make sure that blessing for the trip. If there's any external trip, any external tech trip is essentially get her blessing and as well need to make sure that it's not in the band date range. The two big date band date range, like the birthday date range and the anniversary date range. No touch.
Yeah. Okay, I have to add in something from Shafras also. The not really exactly like referring to the events and bring your spouse, but I think yeah, he oh, I never knew that about Shafras in terms of he met his wife through a hackathon.
Yeah, maybe that
Go
should
ahead,
be something
go
I
ahead.
should sell. That I should sell to get people to come also as well.
But I feel like that's hard though, because I mean maybe this is something worth discussing about, which is what's the percentage of male to females that you see during those events, and I feel like that's something that we, we do struggle with lah as
Mm,
organizers. Like
mm.
on a good day, maybe you get 20 to 30%, but I think on regular events you probably would just see 10 to 20%. I feel like yeah.
Uh, for, so for DSSG, we have about 30 to 40% usually.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, which is actually a lot. I heard it's actually a lot more balanced compared to other tech communities. Uh, but actually, so coming back, right? Talking about the wife, the family, and everything. Actually, so for data science, actually, we have been around for like 10 years already, right? So we do have people who help out in the community, but they also come and go because of family, because they got married. They also want to spend a bit more time with their wife. And some of them actually have kids already, so spend a bit more time with their kids as well. So that's from my perspective, because okay, I like my two panelists over here. I'm not married. Uh, so this is where things can also be a bit challenging because since I'm not one that doesn't have a sort of extended family to take care of and all this, which only just my parents. That's where a lot of sort of like organizing and all this comes back to me to sort of keep it running lah, to be fair. Uh, so I wouldn't say burnout also. Like, I think burnout may not be the right word also, but sometimes I do feel that I think it's good to have someone to step in and offer help and say that, oh, can we maybe help for this month? So you can have a break in between or something, 1 or 2 months in between, break away from it and so on and so forth. And I do appreciate anyone who offers that. And there are people who offers us. It's just that probably the offers is not that forthcoming in the first place. But I'm not complaining. I'm just saying that this is from my perspective or how I look at it. On another note, so because data science is actually very hot topic. Data science and AI is actually very hot topic these days also, right? What I seem to notice also is so just now you were talking about inviting people to join the community to organize and we say help out and all this also as well, right? So for data science actually is a bit different here because data science is actually a very hot topic and we do see people trying to leverage the brand, so to speak. So when I say leverage the brands, what I mean by that would be they will like to help out and organize an event. So once they help out an event ready, right, then they go around telling other people, oh, I'm part of the organizing committee for data science SG. So that it adds credibility to them. So it adds credibility. I mean, I do agree it adds credibility, lah, but as to how it adds credibility is a different thing altogether because you don't really need technical knowledge, right, to be able to organize event, to be fair. It's more like you need a technical knowledge to actually manage the content, to make sure that the content is relevant uh, to, to the audience. So from our perspective, for data science perspective, we also have been very careful in how we select and invite who to join into the community. Yeah.
I have to mention, I think I just cringe in real life when I heard that because I mean I'm in support of you. Don't get me wrong.
Uh,
The thing is because we also see the same from I think our community's perspective. I think
mm,
Hairizuan alluded to this a little bit at the start in terms of
yeah.
people who come and go,
Mm,
and yeah, in a very sad way, I think I've seen like people on both camps where like you have the people who are very invested, looks interested, but then yeah, they come and go. Okay, sorry, come and go is fine. Don't get me wrong, but I'm
mm,
saying then there's those that are more obvious who just post, let's say on LinkedIn, I'm part of this, which is I think what you say, right?
yeah.
And then okay, they used it and they're gone. And I'm okay. I don't use the word use lah. Feels a bit wrong, but
No, I
it's
definitely use, man. Like
But
because
actually, yeah,
we had one case.
yeah. I
yeah
kind of agree with
that
Harizwan. No, I think the right word is used, and
yeah.
in fact, the thing is very bad when they're using the community and
Mhm.
also the kind of effort and hard work that we put in to build a community that way. So most of my friends will know that there was one guy who actually did just that. He was actually part of the organizing committee, but he tells everyone that, or it's actually we invited him to speak. But as an organizing committee, you know that sometimes you probably have to step up to sort of have content available and all this, right? But the guy actually made known to other people, say that actually we are the one who invited him. But hey, you're part of the organizing committee. If you volunteer to speak, then all the more we'll let you speak, right? But you shouldn't be able to count that as an invitation in the first place. Yeah. So just to share this, so let other people also know that behind the scene, right, or communities, we as a community leader, we also try to prevent such things from happening. Yeah.
And yeah, that goes to the one very, very big important thing with regards to content, that is like the thing is like in like from what I see, like in Singapore, maybe it's a Singapore thing or something, or maybe other countries also kind of face the same issue
Mm,
where speakers don't really come to you. Like basically most of the time is organizers have to go and reach out to
Mm.
speakers. And like the more prolific speakers, they are like their time is like completely consumed. It's harder to
mm,
invite them. And that's the thing. Like sometimes I have friends in the tech industry, and they have very, very interesting content to make, to talk about. Like they can go like 2 hour 3 hours talking about how Kubernetes works in depth. But the thing is, right, when if I ever ask them like uh maybe you can give a sharing of how of what you found out, what you learned, etc.
Mm.
They will say, yeah, I'll think about it. But the thing is, right, most people don't have that incentive to speak in events. Like I don't know, like maybe the three of us are crazy in that sense. Like we don't mind like sharing our knowledge and everything,
Mm.
because like it takes like a certain sense of like it's not I'm not sure whether it's like responsibility. It's not a it's not the feeling of responsibility. It's just like the love for sharing knowledge in a sense.
mm,
Like you need to have like a bit more of it compared to other people to actually like take the effort to actually make slides, make demo, make sure the demo is working, actually
mm,
be okay to appear in front of a crowd, be okay to be answer questions. And that's the thing, just like when you talk to other people, um uh with regards to like how about you come on board and like give a sharing. So they'll give all these things like I don't have time to make the slides, I don't have time to make a demo that I can showcase to externally. I am not confident to stand up stage. I am not confident to tackle questions. So so let's then I'll bring it back to the point like with regards to organizers. So because sometimes for us organizers, we have to appear in front of stage, because like let's say if we're hosting event, like basically that's kind of one of the responsibility, right? To go and like hi everyone, and give that very high energy vibe. After a while, you get used to it and just like, okay, that's the default when you come up, the default stage persona in a sense. And then that kind of brings over to the speaking portion, like um then after a while, right, speaking just becomes kind of natural. It's just like, oh, okay, if I scroll or talk, it's fine. Like the worst that can happen is people forget it, or people take a certain bad clip of it and post it online, but it doesn't matter because most people actually don't really care. Um, yeah, it's just a summation of all kinds of weird issues, and then and like for organizers, right, we have only so much content that we can share, right? So yeah.
I feel like saying, like, on that note, the heart matters a lot more here. Maybe heart over here refers to the spirit of it, lah. The But that's the part. Maybe we can talk about this, like how you grow a community, which, like, how do you find the right people to do this? Maybe just to show a very quick quote from Shafras. I think for okay, we've showed Shafras his comments for a few times, but folks who don't know who Shafras is, he's currently right now, like, what's that? Definitely on the side of AWS. Previously, I think some of you might also know him coming from Google as well. So who worked with us for GDG. So okay, I alluded to it quite a bit, but maybe I'll just mention he's the guy that I was introduced to, then how I sort of got introduced to GDG. Uh, and I think, yeah, definitely do mirror what he's mentioning over here. I think it's, for most of us, we are okay with seeing people come and go. I think that's life, lah. In the end, yeah, people get married, people get busy over work. Uh, I think in the end, if you're not having fun anymore running a community, it doesn't make sense. Like, because if, let's say, your day job is taking up, what, let's say 10 to 10 every day, and then you're so tired on the weekend that you still have to go and host and prepare for the events, I think that's not worth what do you call it, killing yourself over. But if you're, of course, truly enjoying yourself, then, no matter how much time you're spending, I mean, you're entertained, this is like, something that helps you out as a person, right? You should go for it. So churn is always fine. But yeah, do agree, like, in terms of the uh it's okay to be there for, not, in terms of purpose of sharing, but I think to mirror the words used by my other panel speakers over here, right, panelists over here, if your explicit goal is to use, I think, the community to forward yourself only, right, that means you're not giving back. For me, I feel like that's probably, that will get you a lot of uh what's the word, ire, like IRE, like a lot of, like, basically people won't look at you in the good light after, like, inviting you for event, or like getting you to organize these events for once or twice, lah. They probably will distance themselves away from you, because I don't think no one likes that, lah, to be honest. When they see that, let's say, you're posting on LinkedIn, but you're only pushing your own agenda or pushing yourself more. Yeah.
Yeah, I think actually at the end of the day, I think any communities will have people who will try to use it to push their own agenda. Actually, if you ask me, it's more like we as community leads, right, we need to be a bit of a gatekeeper. Make sure that at least uh, at least the community benefits from it lah. So the example I was showing was a bit more like a misrepresentation, and says that uh, the organizing committee invited him rather than he was the one who volunteered to speak. I think that was a more of a misrepresentation rather. But from my side, at least, we also do see people like say that, hey, I would like to join the organizing committee. And their main purpose is probably that maybe help out once, right? And then after that be able to claim that, or they actually help out in the community. And then that's it really. They don't even say that, oh, is there any more that I can do? And so on and so forth. So which is also something that I instituted for data science SC, right? Is that, hey, if you want to help out, we are more than happy for you to help out, but you can only say that you're part of the organizing committee. Maybe you help out after like 2 or 3 times, rather than just that single one time. And or I don't want, again, like I said, I don't want the community to be made use of that way. to sort of give credit to the wrong people at the end of the day. Yeah.
I have one interesting question from
Mm.
actually this is Hassan is also one of our previous podcast panelists as well.
Mm.
But he's also a speaker, mostly in today I would say like around the C region. So he's asking with more and more events, what's your take as organizers for having a place for networking throughout the event? So maybe like I'm guessing what he's asking is on one side you have people talking, sorry, not talking. You have one side you have the speakers giving the the main content, and
Mm.
then on the side you probably have speakers who can interact with other speakers who have maybe already finished their talk. They can interact with attendees and maybe even have attendees like network with each other. What's your take on this? I feel like this is a very controversial question in my opinion though, but I'll
I
let you all
mean,
go first.
yeah. Let me add on to that. The thing is actually the like so I believe any communities at the end of the day, right? The after the talk interaction is always a challenge. So like for instance, so maybe after the talk, a lot of people actually would like to interact with the speakers. But then how do we facilitate that kind of platform at the end of the day? So for data science actually we tried quite a few already. We tried like Telegram, we tried like Slack, and so on and so forth. Um, Unfortunately, the thing is, once you sort of move to a new another platform, not a lot of participation. It's like not a lot of people like asking questions further and so on and so forth. We don't see that actually. But we do hear that there's a demand. Like how do I continue the interaction with the attendees between the speakers and attendees? But at the end of the day, what we probably will say that, oh, why not we just get the LinkedIn profile, you just do a LinkedIn connection and all this, right? You've got further questions. And then from there, you post the questions on LinkedIn if you're looking for uh, to get some of your questions answered. So yeah, to maybe to Hassan's question would be my answer to that would be as we did try to facilitate that, but unfortunately we didn't see much sort of results or impact from the different ways that we have provided. Uh,
Maybe I'll
Yeah.
go
Oh,
for it.
sorry.
Go for it.
Okay.
Go for
So
it.
okay. So I think there's also the thing about I've been seeing this thing maybe before COVID also, it also kind of happened a bit where, okay, let's say in the Google, like in Singapore's Google developer space, right? So we have one section that is like the conference side, which is all the seats are there and everybody just listening, like kind of listening in to the speaker. And then you have the other side, there's a bit more like a coffee tea table kind of setup. And what usually happens is, okay, let's say it's a more full day event, right? And then let's say like as Koo said, like once the speaker is done speaking, what some of the attendees will sometimes do, they'll drag like the speaker will walk off, and then after that, some attendees will go up and talk to the speaker, and maybe there'll be a bunch of them just talking over there. And yeah, I'm not sure like, if that behavior can I'm not sure like what's everyone's take on this behavior. I think it's kind of a normal, natural behavior. It kind of naturally comes up because like maybe the attendee is not interested in that particular session. It may seem rude, but like I think for the speaker's perspective, like they have to take it like no, not everyone is going to be interested in the topic. From the organizer's perspective, they can't control everyone, and like it's not like university or junior college, like no, everyone go sit down, like there is someone speaking, pay attention. No, we are all adults here. So so my opinion or my take is, for the speaker, just um like me from my what I do to deal with this is, I think it's also something that previous mentor, my previous boss also shared with me is, when giving this kind of talks, right? Don't expect everyone to agree, or don't expect everyone to be there listening attentively. As long as you have one or two people listening attentively, you win. Once you take that into account, right? Just like everything becomes easier to handle. Like if you lower your demands, you get more satisfied. And I think like for me, I'm a bit more selfish in a way. Like I want to share my knowledge, but I want to be satisfied doing that. So as long as I see in the crowd, like maybe there's like one or two nodding heads, or one or two like give a very big question mark, that means they are thinking about whatever I'm saying. Then I feel like I won. That's the feeling. That's for the speaker's perspective. For organizers, can't do much. Attendees not interested in that particular topic. I mean, they should feel free to go over. And yeah, so that's what I think. Yeah.
Do you mind if I jump in here? I want to
Sure.
give a larger take on the organizer part lah, which is I think as a speaker usually okay, maybe just to give a little bit of excerpt from myself as a speaker first when I see this, which is for me I would say I just put 100% of trust on the organizer. I mean, because in the end it's their event, how they run it in terms of whether okay, I'll just say it out loud, like in terms of if you have a discussion happening alongside a current talk happening, right? Depending on how it's being run, right, it may not be disruptive, but I think the most I've seen is if you're putting it side by side, especially in the Google developer space, right, it is disruptive lah, because you have like a group of let's say 10, 20 people speaking at the like chattering at the side, and then you have the main speaker who's trying to get the attention of like at least the people who want to hear. It's quite distracting when it happens. So at that stage, let's say if I'm a speaker, I would say I would trust the organizers to sort of, at least if you want to have people discussing, I think have it in a different place, or at least like not make it disrupt that the main talk that's happening over there lah. As the organizer itself, I would say that this is good. Like I think you definitely want people to network and engage with each other, but you also want people engaged in the talks. So it's sort of like figuring out which one works and not. And I guess the first step is always finding the speakers who have engaging content first. You don't want your, let's say, your first speaker to be the most engaging, and your second speaker, no one wants to listen to the speaker, so everyone leaves during the talk. Like it's bad as well. As long as I think you have a consistency in your roster of speakers, you always have people listening in. Like not everyone wants to network as well. So then you probably want to create a space where maybe in the case of dev space, right? Using the site may not be the best. I'll say maybe you can do the outside area, or at least like a place where there's a door away. It's enclosed. Okay, maybe the talk area is enclosed where the chattering shouldn't disrupt it lah. Like you shouldn't have like sort of two things overlapping at once, and then that might, because if it overlaps, you create a bit more tension towards the speaker. The speaker also is a little bit more stressed. Like, you know what, he's trying to talk, but then he or she is trying to talk, but then you'll get distracted by the people on the side lah. Yeah, I think that to me for organizer is a challenge, as well as like you want, because you want the best of both worlds. You want people to network, you want people to be engaged in our talks, and I think in order to have and encourage that, you need to think through thoroughly and plan out for it to the point where, yeah, the separate venues, the separate opportunities shouldn't disrupt each other lah. I think pulling up Hassan's, I think from his question, I think he also mentioned about separate speakers, networking room. Yeah, I think this is actually better. Whether it's a separate room or whether it's like an outside area, as long as it's not within the main, that your speaker shouldn't be disrupted lah by other folks. And I think that's maybe also now going to a slightly different topic. I think that's also maybe a little bit of the trouble. Let's say trouble, maybe a hassle for community members like me and Koo and Hairizuan over here, which is I'm sure you guys have the instance where your speaker is speaking, and then you hear a lot of people talking at the side or in the background, and no choice, you have to be a bad guy. You have to walk in front and ask the speaker, "Hey, I take the mic for a bit." Then you have to tell everyone, "Can you all listen to the speaker? Let's give him the time, he or her the time over here, to discuss his content lah." And I've done that. I've been the bad guy and done that. I mean, in the end, if we invite a speaker, especially if it's flying in from overseas, I think let's at least make it worth this person's time lah. Like, if you want to talk, we can usher them to maybe a different venue to help at least facilitate the enjoyment for people who want to listen to it, as well as the speaker. Okay, sorry, I talk too much. I'm not sure if you all want to jump in on that.
No, I don't think so actually. So maybe just for anyone who's listening in later on, if you're a part of a community, right? Actually, just to let you all know is that I think organizers not easy to do in a sense that we are trying to balance a lot of people's interests. At the end of the day, we're trying to balance the community's interests. You're trying to balance the sponsors' interests. Like maybe it could be a venue sponsor or refreshment sponsor. Then you also have to balance the speakers' interests as well. And of course, we also have to balance our own interests. But of course, our own interests will take a lower priority compared to the others lah. So it's more like just to let the community know that actually behind the scene there's really all these different interests that we're trying to balance over here as well. Like for instance, oh, you want the community to be engaged. You want the community to have useful content they can bring back in because at the end of the day, like what I described in my write up, right? They also have a choice whether should I be attending this and learn something new or should I be spending time at home with my family, with my wife, with my kids, and so on and so forth. Then we also have the sponsors. The sponsor when they provide food, when they provide speakers and all this, they also want something in return, right? They cannot be saying that I will just contribute uh and so on and so forth. There's definitely going to be some interest in it, and generally probably about 80% of them is commercial interest. So you also have to balance that as well. Then the speakers, you have to also stand from a point of a speaker. If the speaker look at it and says, wow, this is the kind of small group I get to speak to, they may not be that motivated to come back another time. And especially, let's say, if their content is very useful, we feel that it's very useful, we want to give them the biggest audience possible. But I think for speakers, we also hope that they will understand that, yes, I think that's the main interest that we have. We want to get you the biggest speaker, biggest audience as much as possible. But there are things that is not within our control as well. Like for instance, maybe like weather in Singapore, like let's say like torrential rain. I haven't had a situation where we were expecting about maybe 100 over people, right? Because of rain on that day, right? Wow, the number of audience actually dropped tremendously. It's like 40 or 50 people at the end of the day. And I was a bit, I would say, a bit embarrassed. I was like, yeah, I'm so sorry. The thing is, you only got you this big an audience size. We hope that it can be bigger, but unfortunately, we are not like Storm inside X-Men where you can actually control weather and so on and so forth. So that's that. Then let's say for instance, if your speaker come from so for GDG, quite straightforward lah. But for data science SG, right, we also have to deal with sometimes vendors want to come and share. So vendors come and share, then we have to balance. We have to say that, hey, you cannot be doing two sales. Because if it's two sales, right, people know it, people smell it already, right? They probably don't even want to come in the first place. So you definitely have to be a bit more technical. And in fact, if any of our community members are actually listening to it, like on our side, we actually try to balance as much as possible. And if the speaker refuse to hear hear us, as in like make the talk as technical as possible, right? We will get feedback, and if the feedback is very poor, we actually I won't say ban. Ban is not the right word. As much as possible, we won't get the company or the software vendor to come back and speak anymore. Yeah, that's how much we value your feedback. So if there's any like feedback or whatever, please let us know so that we can improve along the way. Yeah. Then of course we have the venue. Actually, I think what Hassan mentioned here also, I also want to bring out a point, and that is for data science SG we have a venue challenge. So when you say venue challenge, is because thanks to the community, right, our audience size is actually quite large, and it's not a lot of places that can accommodate. We should we usually have about like 80 to 100 people, and we have venue sponsors that say, hey, we would like you to come and use our venue. But then when I asked about capacity, right, they can only do 50. I was like 50. It's not that I don't want, but a lot of the audience will be standing. And I don't think I want to create that kind of environment where you stand and listen and so on and so forth. One or two times is still okay, but if it's too much, then it's not ideal lah. At the end of the day, I think it's always good to create a more comfortable environment for people to sit down and listen. Unless you choose to stand out, then that's a different thing altogether. Yeah.
I think cool. You actually okay. Not saying you summarize everything, but you put this one thing very succinctly to our audience over here, which is essentially the pain of being uh a organizer itself. Yeah, you have location, you have the speakers you need to take care of, you have the audience that needs to be paired like properly to this, both the venue as well as to the speaker as well. Because yeah, definitely, I'm not saying to be very clear, I'm not saying all speakers out there are divas. I'm definitely
Yeah,
not
yeah,
saying that, but there will
yeah.
be people who will definitely reflect to it and say, hey, how come the audience is this amount only? Uh,
Mm,
yeah, because for some of them, like it makes no sense if they're just speaking to 5 or 10 people. Some are okay, some won't be like that. But having all of this, and on top of it, you have to select the right people as your community, as your volunteers. It's almost like it's hard to have a perfect event. And if it
mm,
happens, like far few in between.
mm,
But we try to strive for good events throughout, lah.
mm,
And
mm,
still is really hard, which is amazing because we are essentially like event organizers, and I mean we're all not paid here, right? Yeah, we have our own personal agendas, but we're not paid. But we're
mm,
almost doing to the tier of like when you see like other people organizing, let's say like those um road shows or things like that outside, right, where they do that event. Maybe it's for days, maybe just for a couple hours, but we're doing to those similar scales, but not having that direct compensation over there. So it makes it really hard to attract also, I think, the same-minded people to do the same things lah. And while us talking about the pain, right, maybe I think this is also a good way for us to round up the discussion today and sort of to encourage people, like what sort of advice would you give to people who would want to think about in terms of volunteering or leading a community? And what speaks to you that they like, what sort of benefits they will get from there?
Okay, let me go first. Let me go first.
Go for it, go.
I really have very strong opinions with this one. Okay, so
Whoa,
in
whoa.
regards to yeah, in regards to community, right? I have this firm belief. I think it applies to almost everything in life. At the end of the day, one-offs are not the greatest things in life. Like basically, okay, so example, like maybe to so that I can bring my point over more clearly. So let's say if you want to take care of your health, right? In order to take care of health, your health is something that is like molded across decades. So if you want to make sure that you are healthy when you're old, you need to make sure that you are eating right now, you are of a good weight, etc., etc. So there's a lot of things to take care, and the whole important thing is you have to be consistent about it,
mm,
right? So the same applies to the tech community world. So at the end of the day, for tech community, like it really doesn't help. Like okay, let's say if you want let's say if you're thinking, okay, I want to lead a tech community, I want to like have this community. Like this community doesn't exist. I should start up one, and then you start one up. Um, you run one or two events, and then no more events after that. Yeah, that's not great. That's seriously not great. One is like you bring disappointment to everyone around, whoever that's like kind of interested to it. And secondly, you just like it's not helping your cause. Like at the end of the day, like what are you trying to do? Are you trying to get just a satisfaction that you led the event? Like
mm,
what's the thing lah? So yeah, I mean the thing is right. Even if I say all this right, it's not gonna stop. Like people are still gonna do these kind of things. Like they're gonna like, okay, I want to do. I want to be able to lead the event. Like why not just join one of the any of the existing groups, because the existing groups, they are somewhat consistent. Like there are some more consistent than others, but the less consistent ones, those are the ones that actually need a bit more help. So if you go there and you say, okay, I want to try to organize an event, like most of them will for sure say, yeah, just go for it, yeah, go give it a run. Because at the end of the day, right, like we are definitely I'm pretty sure that for most of the organizers here, uh, all the help, any extra hands is good. But then at
mm,
the end of the day, also like it's like what Koo mentioned, like if you come in, you help one, two times, and then you suddenly disappear for forever, right? Yeah, it's that also is not going to help. The end of the day, yeah, it's consistency. Like whatever thing that you bring to the table, like your leadership skills, your tech skills, or ability to generate content so that you can help out the group in bad times, it all doesn't matter. At the end of the day, like, can you consistently help out? And then if you cannot consistently help out, right, you need to like raise a flag and just like, hey guys, I can only come like once every 3 months or something, because that's the time when I'm down. I have downtime. If you let people know, just like, okay, you can factor your time into account. But the thing is, right, we at least we know that you are around, but you are unreliable resource. Yeah, that's why I'll say. By the end of the day, right, consistency is a very important thing when it comes to organizing things for tech communities. Yeah, that's what I want to bring up. Okay,
No,
I said my
I
rant.
like that a lot. I think it's great to set expectations. I mean, we don't see this as work, but in some sense, you're still building that relation with working professionals, and these are people, fellow organizers who work in other tech companies as well. I think the worst case would be you sort of touch and go in this what do you call it, in your commitments, and then in the future you apply for a job in their companies, and you get a very bad rep because of they'll say that, hey, I worked with this guy before. It's not work, but he or she is not really committed. Like, he just jump in and out, want to be an organizer but not there as an organizer. Like, maybe as we discussed just now, right, they're there if, let's say, it's just to use the name to post on LinkedIn, post on social. Then of course that will get you a really bad rep. But I kind of like wanted to ask Hairizuan, like, in terms of what you've suggested to our audience, right? Would you say then that would mean as volunteers we should as people who want to look towards like serving a community, right, we should also consider the type of activity the tier of activity that we want to invest our time into for volunteering. That means, let's say, if you, like, as you say, once every 3 months, then maybe don't be don't gun to be a community lead where you may not have the commitment to help, but maybe just be sort of like a walk-in community member, like the runner, like sort of to help out with the other things that you don't have to be too invested in the planning, but you help with the execution. What do you think about that?
I think I can comment on that, because thankfully I'm already stepping out already, in a sense. Like, basically whoever that's already stepping in can mention that. The thing is, right, at this point of time, for at least for GGG Club Singapore specifically, there isn't such a structure, because there's no one has the time to create such a structure. It's like, if there is a structure that you can follow, yeah. The thing is, in the past, there is a more structured process because there's more people involved. Like, there's a running document to say what things to do. But then at the end of the day, when people started leaving, yeah, then after that, because like initially I was the only one that was maintaining that document. So basically, like, if a new person comes in, right, I just throw the document to them and just like, okay, read this. This is kind of the playbook that we are running. If you want to add something, you can read it up, and like, we can adjust the process accordingly. But like basically the messaging, like everything there, like what to message, how frequent the events, where the events, who to approach, all the contact points, everything is there. It's a playbook. Just like the step A, B, C, when you organize the event, these are the things that you need to. But the thing is, right now, um, like, yeah, this brings back to my point of consistency. Like, for me, I can no longer be consistent, and I've raised it up a couple of times already. Just like, I have family and I have a career to maintain. Family, of course, because now we will vibe, right? Like, it's no longer just my parents only. I have my wife to take care as well, and then my wives also have in-laws, and I have to go with bonding sessions with them as well, right? So I have this whole thing that I want to take care first, and that takes priority over everything else. So I can no longer comment much about this, because I am no longer consistent. But if you need my help, I'm there. But if you ask for my help to do certain things, I would say no can do, man. Like, I'm busy on that day. But if you say you have an event and you need content, I'm willing to automatically step up, because there's a one-time effort for me. Like, I can help out in that direction. That's my commitment level. So, there's the like in terms of tier, that's like kind of an automatic structure, but it's a structure in my head. It's like there's no process there.
No, I like that word that you use a lot, which is to put out like sort of the commitment level, like in terms of I think what you can put in. And maybe on the same note, because we are both from GDG, right? And GDG Cloud, right? Just want to look at the camera and say directly, Daniel and Ekshata, I love you guys. Please continue leading the communities as it is. We'll help out on the side. I mean, given our commitments at this point, we appreciate a lot that you do. Okay, and with that note, going to Koo.
What advice would I give people like that? Be sincere. I would just say be sincere in helping. Not. I think it's okay. I think it's okay if you want to. It's okay if you have certain personal agenda that you want to achieve. Through the community, you please let us know lah. At least so. At least from my point of view, I can sort of see how I can put you in a position where it helps you and also helps the community at the end of the day. I'm okay, actually, really, I'm okay if you tell me that this is what I hope to achieve by joining the community, the organizing committee. This is what I hope. And at least let me have some idea like how do I make sure it's a win-win situation for everyone. I mean, let's face it, I mean, at the end of the day, we organize all this, right? We are not looking, of course, to get paid monetary lah, because there's no money involved anyway in the first place. But we were looking to be paid in some other ways as well lah. I mean, let's be very upfront about that also. So like people like me, why I'm keep on running and all this is because I kind of like the atmosphere, the atmosphere that's being generated, right? Every meetup where people come and learn, that's a very serious learning attitude that they want to pick up on, and also I get to see what are the like-minded people who consistently come, and this is where I can approach them and then also understand their perspective, understand how they actually do data science, and so on and so forth. So in fact, the thing is like even because of running data science actually for 10 years already, right? I actually have a large network of like-minded friends which I can turn to and talk to. Like and if I didn't run data science, actually, I don't think I also will meet you guys also as well because of Google, because of other tech communities, and so on and so forth. And also find people of the similar interests as well. Like for instance, for me, right, I not only just do data science, also previously a while back, right, I actually also met out with people who do data science and also play board games. So we actually had like maybe board games like every three months or so. Then of course I met you guys, and that's what we do all the long walk, everything else. We got drenched together, and so on and so forth. So this is what we get paid in, to be fair. And if you ask me, it's something that of course money cannot buy, and I wouldn't trade it for any amount of money to be not to be cliche over here or whatever. So the point I'm trying to drive at is this: you join in, be consistent, like what Hairizuan was saying, but also you can let me know what you want to achieve, and we can see how we want to do a win-win on that on that front, and so on and so forth. But I do want and look forward to having genuine people who really want to make an impact and helping out the community. I think that's what I'm looking for. And at the same time, if you can gain some benefits from it, I'm more than happy to have that as well. Just like I said, don't make use of the community, don't misrepresent what's happening and so on and so forth. Yeah.
I would say one quote will be, "It's not about the destination; it's about the friends we make along the way."
Wow. That's such a meme, man. But heck,
How about
Koo
you,
gave a go for it, Koo, sorry.
No, how about you, Weiyuan? What advice would you give?
Yeah, I was about to say, Koo, you gave such a good answer. Like you took 90% of what I wanted. I wrote this actually before coming in, like what I wanted to say. And I feel like you
Okay.
covered a big part of it. Because I mirror the same thoughts as well as you, which is that I mean, yeah, sure, there is that portion where initially when we first come in, I don't think we think about like, the friends you meet along the way, the relations you build along the way. You think about first, I would say a big part maybe coming in towards like whether you love the technology or whether you want to build your professional branding more. And I did recently also told this to a colleague, a junior colleague at work, right? Which I told the person that like we had this conversation where this person was asking, hey, how come you how do you find inspiration and like being able to spend like this time like continuously posting on LinkedIn, continuously like going to different countries, like speaking and all that. And like I think I did try to give her the advice towards that it's something that I choose. I get it that I will lose a bit of free time along the way, but it's something I did early on in my career to sort of also build up that professional branding for myself. And a long time along that the way itself, right, or the process as mentioned by Hairizuan, which is getting to know more like-minded people, getting to meet like of course if not for GDG and Google I would have never met folks like Koo as well, and now us doing this walks, right, and having that platform and community to continuously do that. Like in a couple of weeks I'll be going over to KL as well and meeting like maybe another like 50 people in the whole region. And I find that it's such a, I don't know what's the right word for this, but maybe surreal is the right word, because I think if I look at myself 10 years ago, and I would like, if I ask my past self, would you think that 10 years from now, right, you will be going to a community, what do you call it, like community leads event where you meet like-minded people, you get to network with them. And when I say network, I'm really not like say, you give business cards and exchange business cards and just say like 5 minute talks and all that. But these are people that you really get to know deep down. You go out with them in the middle of night and get durian, or late night suppers, like things like that. You build relations with them. Some of them you even work with them in the future. I think those genuine relations and knowing like this amount of people that you never see in your company, and having them prop up your, of course you help prop up your career, but as a person I feel like they make me better as a community member, as well as a speaker as well lah. I wouldn't have imagined that, and I think I have no regrets lah from that perspective, that while I first came out as a tech community lead to help drive maybe my love for Google Cloud, as well as building my own personal branding. But the ending process itself, sorry, the end goal, or rather what I got from it through the process of meeting more people and building all these relations, right? I don't think I'll exchange this for anything in the world. I think that for me, it's not so much of an advice, but telling people that I think if you do put your heart and soul into it, you'll meet a lot of the same like-minded people, right? And people who will come to respect you for it. And people who, let's say, even if you're like, for me, right, I feel comfortable with also posting stuff like this on LinkedIn, not because I want to do it as like some social like influencer, like posting I think a lot of people will be saying that they're sick of things like you go through LinkedIn, there's all those like chat GPT generated posts here and there, but I genuinely am very enthusiastic in terms of like all my LinkedIn posts I write it myself. I try not to use any of the what's that, the Gen AI to help me generate those stuff, because it's something I've genuinely been interested in, together with like working with these different community leads and being able to try to show that level of interest in these platforms as well. Okay, I've gone on a little bit of a tangent, but essentially I'm putting it out there that I think if you put your heart and soul into it, you'll definitely find the rewards along the way. But please do, as like my fellow panelists have mentioned, right, do communicate your expectations, your commitment levels lah. I think you also want people to get a good view of you. You don't want to come in, you don't want to be seen as someone who's making use of the community, or you're just coming in and coming out like it's like a transactional relationship. I think no one wants to see that lah. So it's good if you put a heart and soul into it, and I think people will come to enjoy your company. You'll get to meet new friends. Maybe they will be part of your future career as well. I think most of my work roles, employment roles so far in the last 10 years actually have been a extension of that actually. Yeah.
You
Okay,
should
go for
be,
it.
sorry, you should be participating and helping out the community to build your reputation, but not use it to build your credibility. I think there's a difference between the two. Reputation being the more takes a lot longer, like what I think Hairizuan was mentioning, it takes a longer period of time to actually build up, rather than use it to build credibility where, or just want to tell other people that you're organizing committee, part of organizing committee, and so on and so forth. I think that to me is very short-sighted. is very short-sighted because maybe just a quick one for the audience. I like for me, people like me, right, actually because I also run my own business and all these people actually usually will ask me, hey, cool, have you heard about this guy? Have you heard about that guy? Have you heard about this guy? And me being very honest, I just tell you what's happening, like or whether this person he joined in for particular reason and so on and so forth. So use it to build a reputation. Use it to build a good reputation, but don't use it to build credibility. I think that's very important.
Yeah, I mean, I will also I kind of wonder, it's just like, how did developer groups become credible in the first place? Like all we do is just share content, right? Like, how does that like the ideas don't really link? Because the thing is, right, there's no, like, okay, let's say data science, let's say, right, they share data science related topics, but then, like, what make like which part makes it credible? Like, the top, some are very very deep, so I guess those are the parts that kind of make it credible in a sense. But the thing is, right, there's no guarantee that the talks are of that level, and that doesn't make a person who is the organizer or a speaker there credible in that sense. Like, I don't know why they are tying it to the group, but maybe it's just a perception kind of thing.
I think it's a perception thing though. I think we overrun a bit, but I think it's a perception thing here. Reason being is that people see it as you're speaking at a conference or seminar, and people feels that or if you're invited to speak at a seminar or to an audience and all this, like to a certain extent, your knowledge should be of some technical value lah, so to speak. But I do agree with what you're mentioning, Rizwan, as in like not necessarily that's the case because at the end of the day, all communities are facing speaker crunch, as in like or as long as anyone who's willing to speak, right, we actually don't mind having the speaker to speak to the audience. But what will happen after that is more like, or if the community doesn't really like the talk, right, we as community leaders, what we'll just say that, oh, sorry, going forward, because our community didn't really like your talk and all this, right? So and this is the feedback that they have for you. We probably will see you in a different light if you want to come back and speak again, put it this way. Yeah, I won't say totally we are not going to let you come and speak, but more of like this is the feedback that we have. We probably will need you to do something first before you can actually do a second time at the end of the day. So I have to sort of gatekeep and make sure that the community stays engaged with the right content. Yeah.
Okay, Harizon, I also like to sum up what you mentioned maybe in one sentence. This is something I thought of as you were saying it, which is the like in terms of credibility, how do you exactly build it? I feel like it can be interpreted into that same sentence that's used to describe people. That is, people will remember how you make them feel, not what exactly like you did lah. So they're not going to remember like for all the events that maybe there are some small screw ups here and there, but those are fine. I think usually people will overlook those smaller stuff. But I think if you make them feel not good at those events, like whether for whatever reason, I think that is where your credibility is built up or depleted over time.
Mm.
Yeah, and I think that goes back into the challenge of us as leads, community leads lah, to continuously maintain that high level, continuously making deposits into that. And there'll be times where we need to make a withdrawal, like in terms of I don't know, when let's say okay, never, I don't have a good example lah, but essentially you have to keep building it lah. Yeah.
Withdrawal, I can give an example. Actually, the thing is, remember I mentioned for data science, actually, we have to balance a lot of people's interests at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So we do know that like some vendors they have been helping us by contributing speakers and all this, right? So for us to sort of give back, we say that maybe you can provide speakers and all this, then we will market your event at the end of the day. And what we'll do is we will same thing, we'll just market to a community. Hopefully the community will based on the content and come and join the talk. Even though they know that it could be a bit more salesy as compared to others in the first place, it's because it's our way of for at least for data science, our way of paying back for the sponsor in kind or for the benefits in kind that you provided to a community at the end of the day. Yeah. So that's why we do the withdrawal lah. We withdraw a bit lah, so that the committee and also our sponsor will continue to provide resources to the community also. Yeah.
Is that the one where the post has to start but at the AD?
Something like that lah. That hand sign, yes. That hand sign, yes, yeah.
Is it every Monday? Every Monday, right?
Every month. Last time I remember it's like every Monday, but I'm not sure now. Is the practice still continuing?
To a certain extent, yes lah. Okay. I don't mind. I don't mind sharing that. The thing is, like for instance, Google has been very kind, right? They provide the developer space for data science actually for quite a long while. And again, like I said, I have to balance the interest and everything else, right? So that's why I decided to so like last year, the 10-year anniversary, we had another event with Google, where Google will provide the speakers and so on and so forth. But the good thing is at least their developer relationship manager, the head, print out the t-shirts that what you're wearing right now. So they also sort of pay back in that sense. Yeah, they also pay back in that sense also as well. And I think this is where we as community leaders, we like that, because there's some like, or we help you out, you also help us out, and so on and so forth. So as long as that kind of relationship is there, that kind of understanding is there, right? It makes our job much easier. It makes us helping out the community much easier as we go along. Yeah, that's the part also, like I said, in terms of withdrawal, we hope the community also understands that, actually your presence, there's some currency to it also as well. So if you can maybe help us out by saying that, you see, now the other actually trying to get to help out the sponsors, so maybe let me come in and help and use my presence as a currency to encourage that kind of behavior, so that we get more in return.
Okay. On that note, I think we are almost at 1.5 hours, but I think this was a very good conversation overall in terms of the pains of I think leading a tech community, or even volunteering for it, and but also the rewards coming in. And I think it was great for us to have that sort of round table to share what expectations usually community leads have. I think for folks who would want to step in, as well as the major benefits coming from it. So hopefully for folks who are listening to this, whether like in the present or in the future, I definitely would say for anyone in the in your company right now, if you have let's say spare time for a CCA, like what we are doing over here, like you should try it out and maybe go from small first lah. And but I do think that in the long run, you definitely get what you want, or build up that professional branding for yourself lah, while doing something meaningful for the community. Okay, and before I end off, let me share my screen really quickly. So I wanted to show this a little bit earlier, I think, where I believe Koo was talking about personal branding. So I wanted to slot in, but I couldn't find the time. So usually we never did stuff like this, but I feel like it's nice I think for the speakers who have spent their time over here, just to give a shout out, I think, to their major platforms. I think for Koo, majorly I see him in mostly posting in LinkedIn, but also because he's like top LinkedIn voice as well. He's a celebrity among us. Then also for Hairizuan, I've seen, if you have gone to his website, you also have seen content that he have posted up. Yeah. Okay. On that note, gonna leave this for a bit, and all right. So usual stuff. I think just self-marketing for myself. This is the part where I'm doing the withdrawals, as we have just discussed. Hopefully I've deposited enough that you'll be able to withdraw and visit some of our social contents. So if you like our stuff, do go and visit our social pages here. I think my goal is I'm gonna try and restart this, make it once a month. Next month I'm thinking about doing a podcast talk on internships, but I'll get back on that. No confirmations yet. Let me get the speakers first. Without further ado, I think that's the end of our session today. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And so thanks so much for Koo and Hairizuan for joining me today here. All right, that's all. See you guys around. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.